You're listening to the REI Deal Finders podcast, where you'll learn actionable steps to help you find your first or next real estate deal. We'll deep dive into current strategies and show you how to become a deal finder in your market today.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Deal Finders Club podcast. I'm Andrew, your host, and we are here with an amazing guy, a new buddy of mine. We are working in the same space across the country, but literally doing a deal together right now.
Right.
Mr. Nathan Payne, thank you for being here.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on here. This is a pleasure.
Absolutely. And right now, let me tell you all, if you don't know Nathan Payne, go find his podcast. Give us the podcast that you do right now. What is that?
It's called the Painless Wholesaling Podcast. So it's like my last name, Payne. I play on it, Painless Wholesaling Podcast.
Genius, marketing genius, right?
Thank you.
I wish I was born with a name like that. I can't really do that with Lucas. So, all right. So we are the Deal Finders podcast. We like to help people find deals. And I know that they're everywhere. You know that they're everywhere. But for some reason, there's a little bit of a gap from people saying they want to get in real estate, but between saying they want to and then actually getting into it.
Yeah,
so I like to start the podcast with, how did you get started? What was that first deal, that first step that you took?
Well, it was just pure action. I mean, I came from the door-to-door industry, and I knew that if I wanted to talk to people, I'd have to go knock on their door. So when I first started, I just started knocking on doors. That's kind of how I did it. Yeah.
So you get a deal doing that?
Yeah. I think it was my second. So I was cold calling. A lot and knocking doors. So my first deal came from cold calling, and my second or third, I can't remember, was from door knocking. And so it works. I mean, everything works in this industry as long you just got to do enough of it. That's just how it works.
That's it. All right. So let's talk a little bit about who you are, and then we'll get in kind of how that deal worked out, and then where you are today. So where are you working right now? What side of the country are you on?
Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah. So I'm in the west coast, just out here grinding, looking for deals. You know how it is. Just looking all over. I'm a deal finder too, man.
That's right. So you started with door knocking. What business were you in? Did you have a job before? Were you straight out of college? What does that look like?
Yeah, so in college, I was it's pretty big, like where I went to school at BYU, Brigham Young University, Idaho, is like a sister school, but they just basically get all the missionaries, the people that went on like church missions, to go knock doors after they get back from their missions because they're just used to it. So I did that, did well at it. Had was one of the top sales reps in the company, and just started growing teams. And then I get a bunch of buddies from college. We go sell for a summer, and that's pretty much it. So that was my job for I did it all until I graduated because it was good money. I owned a cereal bar in a music venue in college my last year, so that's another job business I had. And then after that, I was just tired of moving, selling door to door. So I said, what can I do to use my skill set of talking to people and make good money? Got into real estate.
Oh my gosh. You did tell me about the cereal bar that you owned, and
that's
right. It's genius. I wish you could still do that.
Right.
So right now, like, you're speaking right to this audience right now, because when we talk about deal finders, we are trying to get people to get out there and actually open their eyes and see that there are deals in your current neighborhood, in your network, in your family. There's deals all around people right now. And there's something about today's investor or person that wants to get started. I guess because everything comes from YouTube and from these podcasts, they think that they have to go out and start paying for marketing. They have to have a TV commercial or postcard campaign to find a deal. Where it seems like the people that we've coached, our company, people that I talked to on the podcast, almost all of them started with something that was right there, some type of free or really cheap marketing, and literally in their neighborhood. So you were door knocking. How did you do that? Did you have to buy a list, or did you just walk around?
Said, hey, let's find a crappy neighborhood around here and let's just knock it. That's it.
Oh my goodness. And guys, if you want a deal today, do exactly that, right?
I
mean, it may not, people are like, that's not scalable. I can't do that forever. No, it's okay if it's not scalable.
Yeah,
Go get a deal,
exactly.
get some cash, right?
I think a lot of people neglect the things like knocking, talking to everybody because they don't think it's scalable, but it is how you get a lot of deals. So don't neglect doing things like just letting everyone know what you do, networking, talking to your I guess your circle. Those are all
Yeah.
important things.
So I got to ask you, because in our podcast, we'd like to give people some kind of actionable step, like something they could take from this and literally go do a deal. When you knocked on that door, what did you say?
Yeah, so when I first started knocking, this is what I would say. I would say, hey, look, I work for a company. I work for a buyer who's looking to buy a property in this area. I was wondering if you'd be open to selling, and so we could, make you an offer. So I kind of piggybacked off of, I know somebody that's buying. Like I work for somebody, or hey, there's a buyer in the area, because I was new, and it also kind of takes away the pressure if you're just like, hey, I'd like to buy your house. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So I just say, hey, I work for somebody, or hey, I'm knocking I work for a buyer that's looking to buy a property in this neighborhood. Would you be open to selling? That's it. Yes or no?
Gosh, I love that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it that way, where because you're really taking the pressure off of you at that point, and especially people knock on the door and they're like, I look young, I'm straight out of college. These people know I can't buy this house.
Right. And
Well,
that's how I was when I first started. I mean, I still look young, right? If I knock on your door, looking like I do right now, they'd be like, get out of here, bro. You can't buy my house.
yeah,
Get a real job, right?
Get off my steps.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that, guys. If you're listening to this right now, take that approach of, I'm working with somebody, I've got a buyer, I'm with a company, and you're really just trying to create that conversation, right, with that potential seller.
Dude, I mean, if you knock every day, 8 hours a day, you can get like 2 to 3 deals a month, if that's like consistently what you're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going through this book, Go for No. I think it's Go for No is the title. And that's literally what it is. It's how quickly can you get no's to stack up, because eventually you're going to get a yes. So
hey, I love it. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I try to push everyone to a no matter what. Like, hey, you sure you want to even talk to me right now? Are you sure you even want to do this? Like, you sure you even want to sell your house? Like, I always try to push people to no, so I can just move on to the right, like you said, the right option.
Yeah, to the right person.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, hey, if you're out there and you're trying to figure out that first deal, where you're going to find it, go knock on some doors. Just find the neighborhood and go knock some doors, right?
Right.
So that's awesome. So what are you doing? That's how you got started. How long ago was that? A couple of years?
4 years ago. Yeah.
4 years ago. And so that was then. What are you doing today?
So what I'm doing right now is I focus on what's called reverse wholesaling. You've probably heard of reverse wholesaling. And my last name's Payne, so I call it painless wholesaling. Because it's easier than the traditional way, in my opinion. So this is how someone could apply this. For example, if you're in Columbia, right? That's where you're at currently?
Yep.
So if you're in Columbia, South Carolina, and, you're looking for, to get a deal, you could reach out to Andrew and say, hey, Andrew, I will go knock every house in Columbia if I have to. Where do you want to buy a deal? So Andrew's the buyer. You ask the buyer what he wants, and then you go and find it. And that way, someone could go to you, Andrew, and say, hey, where do you want to knock? You say, hey, I love Indian Hills neighborhood, or I love whatever the neighborhood is out there. Go knock it, 3 2s, whatever. You get it, bring it to me. I'll talk to whoever you got. That's what I do now, except I do it like on a scale with like, instead of knocking, I do like targeted marketing, or I look for deals on the MLS or from other wholesalers deals. Or for my JV, for my coaching, for my JV program, if they bring a deal, kind of like how we met. I already knew you bought in in Columbia, so I was like, I can either blast this thing out like 1,000 buyers and just waste all my time, or I can just call a couple of my top guys. So that's what I do currently, and that's what I recommend anyone that's a new start. Don't just go out there and spend $10,000 on mailers. Like when I first started, I dropped too much money, didn't get a deal. That's like what a lot of people do. They're like, let me go spend money on marketing. It's like, dude, you're not even good enough to handle the leads coming in. You're probably going to lose out. Go get tight with Andrew, get tight with me, get tight with somebody that can help you.
That's a huge point right there. I wanted to hit on it before we get too far away from it. Is you're not even good enough to handle the leads if you go start paying for the marketing.
For
Like
real,
you
bro.
need some practice, right?
Yeah.
Go find the deal, knock on the doors, talk to people, talk to everybody, right? Everybody you see, your neighborhood, doesn't matter. Get some practice in, because when those deals or those leads start coming, you want to be efficient with them. But back to the process of the reverse wholesaling. So are you doing that in your local market too, where you're a buyer as well, but you got other buyers, right?
Yeah, yeah. So if something comes across my way that I want, then I'll take it, right? But right now, because of the market shift in Utah, they were seeing a big hit on prices, and it's a little bit more unstable than I'm assuming in other markets where the values aren't as high. So I'm
Yeah.
just wholesaling now.
Yeah,
Mainly.
that makes great sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a strategy that you can continue and go through the ups and downs, right? Because you know exactly who wants the
Yeah.
properties you're looking at. You know exactly where to go with them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. So, what does your business look like now? Do you have a team? Is it you?
Yeah, great question. So before the market shift, I had a large team, but because of things shifting, I've actually gone I've gone like super lean. It's just me and three VAs. And my VAs, they also what is the word? They do not only my coaching business, like my social media posting, funnels, but they also help me analyze deals. So I kind of leverage both of them, right? Because before they were just doing straight social media when I had my bigger team, but now I'm like, hey, you guys, we can still do deals. Just look for me and analyze it. So we have a lot of deals come in through the program that I analyze. They bring me decent stuff, and I say, hey, if it's not decent, call them and tell them why it's not decent, and maybe we can so the deal that we have right now with you, so he had it at 275. It was listed at
Mhm.
320. And I was like, so I came into the program and I said, bro, this ain't a deal at 275. You need this thing at like 180, one something. And he's like,
Yeah.
I was like, go renegotiate that. And he's like, okay. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, he probably won't get it. He's got to drop it 100K. And then
Yeah.
they're like, okay. They agreed to 180. So he dropped it down, and we got the deal done. So just from having the relationship, you could say he reverse engineered it, right? Or reverse wholesaled it because he didn't have the buyer. I did. I helped him.
Right.
So it's like an ecosystem that's really exciting about this business. Is just because you don't know everything doesn't mean you can't do a deal.
Right. That right there, God, that should be the tagline. Just because you don't know everything doesn't mean you can't do the deal, right?
Exactly.
Because there's somebody out here that can help you. And we like to say between your podcast, probably my podcast, and a handful of others, you can learn it all, right? And there's enough information out there to do the deal. But every situation is different. So
100%.
having that network of people, a mentor like you, a coach, or whatever you want to call it, someone to reach out and say, I think I got something. I'm pretty close. What next? And that guy's going to make a hefty little fee, I'm sure. I don't know the numbers right now, but
so it's 19 now. So and people in my program, I give them 60% and I take 40 because for me, I just want them to do a deal, right? So he's going to make maybe like 12K. That's great.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And that one was on the MLS, I believe. It was at FISBO or something.
I think it was at FISBO, yeah. So the
Yeah.
thing is, like, you and me are both like FISBO, right? Like, I never check out FISBO because most of the people that put them on FISBO are just like trying to get as much as they can, not pay a dime to anybody because they just want to make as much as they can. So I was surprised, but it's really interesting, man. Like I think community is the most important thing to being successful in real estate because without us knowing each other through the community, through Tom Kroll or whatever, how we met, I mean, we're not going to do this deal. We wouldn't do this deal or multiple ones in the future. Right. So.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, that's 100%. We kind of preach on that all the time. We have our local meetup here, and I know that you have one going there where it's all about community. It's getting together with people in your local market that are doing deals so that you can ask questions or you can sell the deal or you can buy the deal. And when you get in that ecosystem, it just changes your efficiency and the way you think, right? It just the way your brain functions with the deals you see or the people you talk to and how you speak to them. What hands down, when people ask like, what's the first thing to do to get in real estate? Go to the meetup. Just go. It's free. Just show up. Just go look at the people, hear them talk, stand around them, and just start absorbing that information. And then of course, then you can check your podcasts out, right?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. So, so what you've got a couple people that get started. You help people get started. You mentor them through that beginning stage and really getting off the ground. What's the first thing you tell people when they want to get into real estate investing?
Well, I mean,
maybe.
yeah, so I have a 10-step process, like to do a deal in general. And my first step is mindset, right? Like there's going to be ups and downs. You got to get your mind right, have a routine or somewhat like be ready for the day every day. So that's the first thing I tell them is get your mind right. And then second is find your buyers. That's it. And obviously, and then this kind of goes in between it, but is pick your market. Right. That's very simple. Pick your market, usually pick where you're at. And if you live in the middle of nowhere, then pick the closest place to that if you can. Yeah. And then find your buyers. That's because I think the way that people have been taught wholesaling over the last like 2 years where they just go market and find a deal. I think that's if we took a poll, that's probably crushed 90% of people have tried this business and put them financially in like a compromised position. So that's, I'm like, hey, do not just go out and spend money immediately. Even if you have it, like there's better ways.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think we're on the same page with that. Some reason it's gotten out there. Yeah. Just throw marketing, just go marketing and something will happen. It doesn't always work that way.
I wish it did, man. Cause then I'd be doing more of it, but I think marketing's good, but I also feel like you gotta be strategic with it. Cause then you can just blow all your money.
Yeah, that's it. It's gotta be strategic, target marketing, that sort of thing, and watch the pennies that you spend on the marketing. So, well, that's awesome, dude. And so we've got a lot of action steps for people that are just getting started. If they want to be a deal finder, they can start here, right? Start with just going down the street and door knocking, right? Get your mindset right. I love that. And so right now you've been doing this for like 4 years, created a business and created some businesses to go along with that. Right. And I love where you're at because I feel like we're kind of running the same race, right? There's so many people that start in wholesaling or start in, getting rental houses, that if you can hang on for a couple of years, you end up with a really good business. It's one of those things, real estate, if you get through those first few deals, then you start to see that snowball.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the hardest part. And that's why we talk about just being a deal finder. It's not making this huge business right out of the gate. It's how do I find deals? First one, second one, third one, and let the snowball go. So I love that. Right. I love it. I love where you're at right now. What do you want to leave for the audience? Do you got any tips, tricks? And we're going to get your contact information and we'll put it in the show notes. So we don't have to do that now.
Yeah. So, I mean, can I leave them with a resource?
Absolutely.
So so this 10-step process I've been telling you guys about, I created a mind map. I took all the whole process of reverse wholesaling, painless wholesaling, and I broke it down into 10 steps, and it's a mind map. So if you click on, how to find buyers, it will go deeper into like how to find cash buyers, how to find landlords, how to find, hedge funds. So I created this for my business, but I've been giving it away so people could see the process. And if you go to my website, Investor Thrive, that's my company, investorthrive.com, I give it away for free. So if awesome. You want to check it out, go check it out. My YouTube channel. I mean, pretty much I'm on every platform under Nathan Payne. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'd love to help out. I think what thing that kind of not discourages me, but I see is just so many people just blow their money because they think if they throw money at the problem, they'll get a deal. And that's just not how it is. You have to be skilled. You have to be able to talk to sellers, negotiate, especially right now. So what I'm telling you guys is take the information that Andrew's given you, that I'm able to give you, and learn it and take action the right way. Don't just, do a text campaign, send out 1 million texts, and you might have just pulled the wrong list or skip traced it wrong.
That's right. I love that. And yes, that mind map is awesome. I think you showed it to us, or you went through it with us one time, and I love what you did, how you put it together.
Thank you.
So guys, go check that out. Make sure you get it. And listen, we are giving you everything you need to get started in real estate, to go be a deal finder and get out there and get to work. But if you want to get in hooked up with the greatest deal finder community we have, if you want to become a local buyer, make sure you check out reidealfinders.club and sign up there if you want to join in, and you can find us on Facebook as well. All right. So Nathan, I appreciate you being here, man. This has been awesome. I know it's going to be helpful for our audience and for yours as well. So guys, go check out his website, get that mind map, and we will see you next time. Bye.